The One Piece live action is out. It's pretty good, kind of good, but you should watch it regardless. If you're a One Piece fan, hey, you should watch it if you're not a One Piece fan. Thank you for joining me. It's your boy Sham. We're going to talk about it, but I just want to say, like and subscribe for your boy. For your boy. Please. Helps. You know what I'm saying? But let's get into it. I'm not going to go into too much crazy detail about every single episode. I just want to hit on some of the characters, and I want to hit on the main points, I guess, and some of the major battles. So I want to start off with episode 1 to 2, and I think I'm going to go in like 2 episode blocks. So if I miss stuff, sorry. I'm just giving my opinion on the entire show. Go watch it. It's decent. Kinda. But no, in all honesty, I'll say this. I'll say that if I didn't watch any One Piece, if I didn't watch the anime, if I didn't read the manga, if I wasn't a fan forever, if I wasn't a fiend, okay, if I wasn't crazy for this, and it was my very first time watching, I think that after watching, it would pique my interest enough for me to go and watch the anime. I can say that, at least, about this live action. So episodes 1 and 2 were good. I want to start by talking about the characters. So all the characters were really good, actually. Well played. I don't think I disliked any of the characters. Probably my favorites would be Buggy, Sanji. Arlong actually grew on me by the end. Luffy is good too. Obviously, I have some points of contention there. But, so let's just start there. All the characters, really, really well done. The scenery, the backgrounds, the props, everything, really, really well done. Even the Den Den Mushis, the CGI, well done. Really well done. Overall, it's a decent watch.
Not bad, not bad.
I want to talk about how the story to me felt and how it progressed. And then you guys can tell me how you felt, if you felt like it was similar, if you felt like it was very different than the anime from the manga, if you didn't like it, if you did like it, what did you rate it? Who were your favorite characters? Who saved the show for you? Because honestly, everybody I've spoken to had their favorite characters that saved the show for them, and I definitely had mine. But first off, I want to say Kobe was well done. Garp, mwah, amazing. The way that they kind of changed the story was a little bit like, I don't know, it took some getting used to, but let's go in 2 episode blocks. So episodes 1 and 2, good. We meet Kobe. Alvida was really well done too. Destroy the ship. Kobe and Luffy eat together. Luffy motivates Kobe to chase his and fulfill his dreams. We see Captain Morgan, Axe Hand Morgan. Now, this is where we get introduced to Zoro, and I feel like Zoro was a really, really well done intro. Really, really well done. Just meeting him in the middle of whatever, it looked like a forest, bamboo. He gets to destroy the guy. He straight up just ices him, just kills him straight off the bat. Now, this is my point of contention, number 1. Who's the main character? Is it Luffy or is it Zoro? And my problem with this is that Zoro is just too cool. Like the actor, the scenes, all of his fight scenes are just too cool. It overshadows Luffy and being the main character. We can't have that. The other thing is when Zoro actually is in the bar and Luffy's kind of just watching him, right? And Helmeppo comes in and the girl's trying to give him food. She gives him the onigiri. He like knocks it on the ground, steps on it. To me, that moment could have been a lot more impactful. Because when Zoro kneeled down to pick up and eat the food, I was just like, bro, why? Nah. But in the anime, the way like he's like tied up on the stake and she comes over the wall and she actually really makes an effort to come and give him the food, and Helmeppo's there and he like to me, it was just more emotionally impactful when I saw it in the anime versus when it occurred in the bar. I don't know. I don't want to say it felt rushed, but it just didn't feel the same, right? It just didn't feel the same. And then after that is basically when Zoro gets in trouble and they put him up on the stake. Now, what I don't like about this too is that this was in the anime an opportunity for Luffy to come in and kind of help Zoro and kind of save Zoro, because they gave Zoro a bet saying that if he didn't eat for like a week or whatever, however long it was, that they would let him go. But in the anime, they actually plan to execute him behind his back. And Luffy overheard this and came to help him and save him in that situation. Now, in the live action, Helmeppo just straight up tells Zoro, like, yeah, you think you're going to go? We're going to kill you. And Zoro's like, oh. And then Luffy kind of comes in and he's like, hey, you should join my crew. And Zoro's kind of like, nah, I'm cool, thanks. I hunt guys like you. And Luffy's just kind of like, okay, I'll help you get your swords. They kind of link up. Zoro just changes his mind. And yeah, so I mean, it just didn't feel the same. It wasn't as impactful. Again, overall, I think that if I didn't have anything to do with this anime, if I didn't watch the anime, see the manga, if I saw this live action for the first time in my life without any previous knowledge of One Piece, I do strongly believe that watching it through and through, it would make me want to go and watch the anime. So I just want to preface everything I'm saying with that, just because, again, it just didn't hit right. You know, it just didn't feel the same. So I just felt like Zoro was too cool in the first couple episodes. I felt like he kind of overshadowed the main character. And to the point where it's like, hey, Zoro could be the main character, and I would actually have no problem with that. No problem with that. So, yeah. And then the other thing with this too, and this is kind of when we get to meet Nami as well, but, well, not kind of, we do. The thing is with this situation is this scene where Nami just pulls out her staff and starts kicking Marine. What? What? Why are they making Nami look so strong? I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, Nami was obviously cool in the anime and in the manga. She's the cat burglar, so she's not weak. She goes around, she steals from pirates, she makes money. Like, she obviously has skills. But what I think that they did in the live action was they leaned more heavily on her combative skills than on her sneak around stealth-like skills. And like, I'm gonna lick you here, just pull a quick lick. You know what I'm saying? Just steal a little 1-2 from you here, get some money, go home, put it in my box for Bellamy and the crew. But yeah, so I just felt like the Nami and Zoro they seemed a little bit too cool. Zoro definitely is cool. His character in the manga, in the anime is cool too. But Nami, when I saw that, I was just like, nah. And Nami's character is really well played. Really, really, really well played. But episodes 1 and 2, I just thought like Zoro overshadowed Luffy, and then Nami was a bit like, it wasn't too much because in the live action it made perfect sense, and I thought like, damn, this shit is lit. Like, she's lit. But I'm just thinking in reference to what I know, I'm just like, it's a bit too much, Nami. You're not that nice. You're not that nice yet, but you're not that nice. So yeah, that was basically it. I mean, episodes 1 and 2 were pretty smooth. I got through them pretty quickly, and honestly, it took me no time. They had me the most excited to watch. Now, episodes 3 and 4 is where I personally fell off. Okay. Now, the episode with Buggy, so the parts with Buggy are not bad at all. Buggy was so well done. His character was so well played, like the comedic, but at the same time, mad annoying. And still, like, he has that evil part of him where he's like, he doesn't care about anybody else but himself. Really well done. And he was funny. And he was really engaging. Like, the whole scene where he was, like, drowning Luffy, and Zoro and Nami are in the back, and Zoro's, like, on the pinwheel, and he's just spinning. Like, I thought all of that was well done, because obviously we couldn't get the fights between Zoro and Moji. We couldn't get the scene with the dog. So we got to see the dog. We got to see the mayor. We got to see the people of the town. But I thought that the emotional impact there was the same. It wasn't as emotional just because, you know, Luffy fighting on behalf of the dog just to save the store is so cool. Like, if you haven't seen that part in the anime, you have to go watch that. For me personally, that made me like really hooked on Luffy as a character. But in the actual live action, I don't think it's bad at all. I think that you get to build up and start to really detest and want to see Buggy get his ass kicked, and then, you know, you obviously have what's going on with Zoro and with Nami, kind of character development and building growth, right? Like, they're building that relationship together. So it was cool. The conclusion was kind of like, man, they used the power of friendship to kick Buggy's ass and to like throw all of his other pieces into like boxes and stuff, which is cool because in the actual story, it's not like Luffy did it all on his own, right? So cool. That's why I say like episodes 1 to 3 not bad. Now when we get to Usopp, this is where I fell off, guys. This is where I couldn't keep up anymore. I just felt like they were doing my dog so dirty. I just felt like they did Usopp so dirty in the live action. Like my guy he had no sauce, he had no skill, he had no game, nothing. Nothing. Like come on, bro. Come on, bro. Usopp is better than that. Like now they did his flashbacks nice. They did his story nice. They did the whole like, oh, the pirates are coming nice. They really built up his cowardice and his proclivity to lie. Okay? That's really what they leaned on, was his cowardice and how much he lies about things. We didn't get any like little followers, which to me was a missed opportunity. So the problem with this part was nothing to do with the story. Kura Hadal, the way that they kind of changed the story, we got to meet the butler, we got to meet Kaya. I thought all of that was well done. The fight in the mansion, especially when the Marines kind of intervened, that was so different, but it was interesting and it was fun to watch. To see Kobe kind of interacting in those situations, in those moments, Luffy getting knocked out, what they did with Zoro in the well, like all of that was fine. But the reason why I didn't like these episodes with Usopp and Usopp's story in Syrup Village is because of how they did Usopp. Like in the actual story, in the actual One Piece, Usopp has some moments where we can look at Usopp and we can say, oh, he's not just a coward, he's not just a sniper. There's more to this guy than meets the eye. We can see his character. And I feel like seeing that, we only, like, when did we get to see that in the actual episodes of the live action? I feel like all we really got to see was him running around the mansion trying to protect Kaya and not really doing the greatest of jobs. He misses the shots that he takes too, and it's just like, dude, are you even the sniper? Like, when he joins the crew at the end of the entire conflict, and I guess Mary died because I didn't see that man come back. But anyways, first of all, the bet that Luffy and Nami made to get the Mary, that was cool. And then when Luffy actually won the bet and he just looked over at Nami, that was funny. Yeah, like the funny classic parts of One Piece, they nailed pretty well, I gotta say. But when they were inviting Usopp to hop on the boat, I was just like, why? Why? They were like invited him to join the crew, and I was just like, no, he didn't do anything. There's no reason for him to join the crew other than the fact that they know that he's Yasopp's son, and Yasopp is his dad. Other than that, I mean, he had no feats. He had no moments of courage. In the actual series, we get to see him have a couple moments of courage, very strong-willed moments where he's literally putting his life on the line to protect his village and the things that he loves. And in this, it just made me feel like he was just kind of like fourth wheeling it. Like, I guess it makes sense in the scope of his character because he's supposed to be the most normal character, the weakest character, the most relatable character. But there were things that I feel like were given in the actual anime and the manga that were not given in the live action that made it so like, hey, he's a part of the Straw Hat crew as well. And even when, just to fast forward a bit, even when we were talking about even when we were on the ship and we were gonna go to the Grand Line and we all were mentioning our dreams and our goals and our hopes as a crew, his goals and his hopes were like, he didn't even know at that point. He was still kind of like trying to figure it out. And then he finally says it and they all laughed at him. And I was just like, okay, well, yeah, they really just did Usopp dirty. And the other thing that I didn't like was that, again, just to go back to a point, he missed his shots. Like, if you're the sniper and you're coming on as a sniper of the crew, like, I need to see at least one decent or a couple decent sniper moments. I saw nothing. His best parts of this entire series, actually he has 3 decent parts. The first GOAT moment for Usopp was when he got the kiss with Kaya. Like, hey, yes sir, we love to see it. Just to see, that's my dog, you know? The second moment was when he beat Chu. The third moment was honestly after everything was done and he was kind of like making his lies. It was kind of cringe though because it's like, dude, you're lying so blatantly. But it was a heartfelt moment. It was a heartfelt moment. So yeah, so episodes 3 and 4, honestly, it kind of made me almost want to stop watching. That's how strongly I felt about it. I don't know how you guys feel about it. I know a lot of people don't like Usopp. I know a lot of people hate on Usopp's character, but if you guys don't understand like the essence of Usopp's character, then that's probably the problem for you guys, the root problem for you guys. For all my Usopp fans and for all the people that are Usopp believers, I feel like y'all will agree with me. Like, the live action did nothing for our boy. It did nothing. Matter of fact, it only gave him L's. Now, Sanji and Zeph's arc, like, I always say arc, but I really just mean that, like, their story, that, to me, was the rehook. That was the rehook on the show. That was the rehook. We have Garp trying to find and trying to, like, chase them down, trying to figure out where they're at. We get to the actual spot, and it was cool just to have Luffy kind of, like, sniff it out. Like, oh, I smell food. Like, those are, like, unique moments with the crew, right? But they find it, they get there. You don't really see it like a crazy moment, but you just get to see Sanji kind of fight. Luffy gets to say like, oh, that's a cool fighter. They get to eat. The relationship between Zeph and Sanji though was spot on. Like that kind of like loving, caring, fatherly figure, but like I'm too proud to show that I love you, but like it's tough and hard love always. Like that was really well done. And then even when Gin came in and he fed him because he was starving, that was really well done. Now the flashback of Sanji meeting Zeph was so amazing. Like it was so heartfelt. I really felt that, especially when they're on the giant rock and they're just starving. And they did it like the original in the manga where he ate his leg. Not where he cut it off to save Sanji in the water, da 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 da. The man ate his leg. And Sanji's on the other side, and he's just there like literally rationing his food, trying to survive. The other thing that they did a really, really good job with in this was the time lapse. So like when they got there versus when they got rescued, they made it so impactful, in my opinion. I don't know how you guys felt about this part, but I really felt like the introduction to Sanji, the introduction to Zeph, and of course we got Mihawk here too, yo. Like this part of the live action to me was like the real like, yeah, this is One Piece right here, you know? This is One Piece right here. I felt like everything was just clicking. Everything was rocking and rolling. We had more of like a feeling of the characters, especially when we meet Sanji and he's just a simp. Like he's talking to all of them and then he sees Nami and then he just flips up. Now he doesn't do the hard eyes because it's the live action, but like you could see the difference. And even when later on when we get to Kokoyashi Village and we meet Nojiko, we see that also when he starts to talk to her and he's just like, oh. So he has Playboy mode. When he sees the ladies, it's real, right? It's real. So the relationship with Zeph and Sanji was nice. The Sanji-Gin interaction was really cool. Even the Luffy being a terrible waiter, like the comedic parts there were really good too. They weren't as good, but like he did break a couple of plates. He wasn't great. And he wrote the IOU on the ticket too. That was hilarious. So yeah, this part really saved it. Now, Mihawk and Zoro was really, really cool. It was just cool to see. I actually had my brother, while I was watching this, he came in. And he was like, what are you watching? I was like, it's One Piece, dog. You know what it is. And he was just like, it's bunks, blah, 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 blah. But he sat down, and he was just kicked up. And he was watching it for a bit. Next thing you know, the man's interested. He's watching the whole thing. He's like, what is this? What's going on? What's going on? So fast forward, I ended up showing him the anime version versus the live action after the Mihawk and the Zoro fight. And he actually really loved the anime version more, but he thought that the live action was cool. And so the way that they did Mihawk's character was really nice too. His sword looked really cool. Even when he pulled out like the small sword, yeah, it was nice. It was nice. I thought like the whole ending kind of scene with Zoro on the ground where you're really supposed to feel it. Maybe because it's a live action, it kind of felt like corny, kind of cheesy. But when Nami's just going frantic and she's like, oh, like, you have to stop him. How can you let him do this? He's never going to win. He has no chance. And then Luffy's just kind of like, I can't get in the way of his dreams. Like, to me, that was impactful. That was an impactful, heartfelt moment. And then, obviously, the fight was decent. The reason why I say it was decent and not amazing, like not spectacular, was because he didn't really use his 3 swords, and that's one of my points of my other points of contention. So my second point of contention was really the Usopp story, like the whole Usopp story and the way they did Usopp was terrible. But my third point of contention would be the whole sword play with Zoro. Like, he doesn't really use his swords, all 3. He really just uses 2. He puts on the bandana though, so I mean, hey, beggars can't be choosers, but I'll take what I can take. It was still lit. I'll still take it. Now, Sanji's fight scenes were off the charts. Like, his kicks, beautiful. Choreographed beautifully. I think Sanji was probably the most well-done character in the entire show. To be honest, I thought that he was just so well done. Now, one of the things I didn't really like about this, and it took me some time, I had to think about it, because when I thought about it and I went back, I was like, you know what? There are a lot of hidden moments that we don't get to see in the manga and in the anime because they're just kind of off screen. Like, after Zoro gets injured, we never really see that it's not that we don't really get to see that healing process, because we go straight to get Nami into like Arlong Park at that point, Kokiyashi Village. But I guess it was that scene where Zoro's lying there, and you know, they're obviously like they're worried about him, and Luffy's just kind of like reminiscing, and he's just thinking about friends, and he's thinking about like if he made the right decision, and basically he's sad, and it's just like Usopp's there and Sanji's there, and Usopp's kind of feeling like, oh man, we shouldn't go get Nami, and it's just a sad down moment. And because of that, I just felt it was kind of corny. It was kind of cheesy too. Like, we really harped on like the power of friendship and love and you're my friend. And I don't know. It just didn't feel like authentic. It didn't feel as like, it just didn't touch me as you would think it would touch you talking about things like that, you know? The reason why I say corny is because that's how it felt. It just felt corny, like watching it on the screen. Like, in an anime version, it was kind of nice. I don't know if they could have found a better way to kind of like express those emotions. Maybe like shed some tears, or I don't know, get angry, but like, I don't know. I just felt like Luffy's not that heartfelt of a character in terms of how thoughtful he is. He's more lighthearted. He's more energetic and playful, and he's always thinking about his Nakama because he cares about them. He would shed a tear for you. He would get angry on your behalf, but like to sit there and look over you and cry because he's not sure if you're gonna be okay. I feel like Luffy's more of the Zoro's gonna be fine, and he's definitely gonna be okay because he's Zoro. And I feel like that would have been cool as well. But hey, it's a live action. It's different. I didn't dock any points because of it. Matter of fact, this entire section of the show, of the series, the entire 1 to 8 episodes, I feel like this section, this block right here, was the best. Sanji, Zeph, Zoro versus Mihawk, like all of that, I thought was the best. And even when we got Arlong came and Nami she straight up just betrayed them and left with Arlong to go, I guess, home. Even that was well done. At first I kind of felt like, man, Arlong is showing up so much, like it just feels so different than the story, but it was really cool. Like, it was a really interesting direction that they went with it, and I feel like it didn't take away from the story. I feel like they missed some parts, but they didn't miss the essence of the Straw Hats, which I think is probably the most important. Besides Usopp. But yeah, so I really like that part, and now that was probably like episode 3, 4, a little bit of episode 5. Then we got more scenes of like Garp and Kobe, and I don't really want to touch on them too much because they're kind of like side background stuff, but it is important only in the sense that like Kobe learns about Garp being Luffy's granddad. He gets some lessons, he plays some games with Garp, they're chasing Luffy essentially, so there's not really too much there besides just, I guess, seeing more interactions with Garp because he's a cool character. We get to see kind of like his demeanor and how he's kind of lighthearted and carefree, and how he's all about his dreams and his own form of justice. So I don't really want to touch on them too much because they didn't really play a huge part, besides at like the end of the series when Garp and Luffy kind of clash, which to me was another amazing change in the story, because obviously we met Garp a lot sooner in the live action than we did in the manga and in the anime. But the way that they did it here, where he's kind of like gatekeeping his road to being a pirate, I thought that was very heartfelt, like a heartfelt family moment, like tough love. I'm your father or parental figure, so like I love you, I care about you, and I want to do what's best for you. And then Luffy's there, and he's kind of like, no, I want to do what's best for me. This is my life. These are my dreams. I'm willing to put my life on the line for my dreams and my goals. Like, very relatable stuff, very powerful stuff. And so I really like that part. But that's really the most, I guess, impactful moment that they really had, beyond, I guess, when Garp was chasing Luffy on the boat, and he actually just threw the cannonball with his hand. He only did it once, which to me I thought was a missed opportunity. But Luffy like, oof, gomu gomu no fusen, and he just like, boom, and he threw it back, not at them or anything, but he just like reflected it, and he was like, oh, I didn't know I could do that, and they were like, I didn't know you could do that. So that was a unique part too. So episodes 3 to 5 were peak. 6, 7, and 8, and I'm saying these, it's not like exact, but I know that like they kind of bleed into one another, so it's really 7 and 8. Episode 7 and 8 at this point, you know, Buggy kind of reappears. We get Buggy in here to kind of help us at the end. He's gonna like go find his own body, but really what this is all about Arlong and the fishmen. So we get to see the fishmen. They come in. This is what made me, or what made Arlong and the fishermen grow on me, and the sense of kind of like how he was being portrayed in this one. Because when he was actually in the Barity and he was talking to all of the humans, he was talking down to all of the humans because of the way that the relationship between fishmen and humans have been in the past. So he's talking down to all of them, as if they have some sort of disdain for fishmen, for him and for his gang, for his peeps, which of course we can only assume that they do because of the history at this point in the story between humans and fishmen, and just the fishmen history in general of them being slaves. And of course, if you guys don't know how relatable this is, then hey, I mean, you know. And so I thought that was a really powerful moment, and a lot of what Arlong was doing was a lot of powerful moments that I thought he had. When we got to Kokoyashi Village and we got to see, this was one of the really cool points that I think they got with the live action, was the destruction. Not only the destruction of like Kokoyashi Village, but the destruction of like Buggy's town. When we fought Buggy, just to go back there for a quick second, and when we could see how like they ravaged the town and how scared the town folk actually were. So when we get to see like Nami's island, and we see like the kind of situation that they're in, even when we're talking about like the heavenly tribute, not the heavenly tribute, but the I guess it's sort of like a heavenly tribute, but what they're doing is they're paying it to Arlong. So they have to pay to basically live every month, and they pay that to Arlong. And so when we get to see that scene where he's like, you need to go and collect it, they're short, right? And she goes, and the whole town is there, and they're like, oh, we don't have enough. Da, 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 da. And they're like hating on Nami. That was another part that was really well done, was the fact that everyone was hating on Nami. I like the fact that they didn't know what she was doing yet, because even Nojiko hated her, slapped her, like, well, I don't know if I'm gonna say slap her, but like emotionally, like, hey, I hate you. Not in so many words, but like, get out of my face, you're a traitor, you're working for Arlong. And then we get to kind of actually learn the story, but we go to her house. I thought that was another cool scene with Sanji, again, being the playboy, stepping up, being like, hey, I'll make you food, it'll be the best thing you've ever had in your life. Like, good way to get in. And she just kind of dropped the fact that she was Nami's sister, and I was kind of hoping for a bigger reaction from everybody, but hey, it is what it is. So we get in, essentially, and we get on her good side, on her good graces, and we learn the story. And this is when we get the flashback, Nami's flashback. And Nami's flashback was so powerful. It was really well done. Like, the kids that played Nami and her sister, the Bellamy, like, she was really well done. Even the characters with the pinwheel and the scar on his face, like not the mayor, but the guy who like helps take care of Nami and like kind of looks after her. He was really like stern, and it seemed like he really matched his character from the manga, in my opinion. And so now that we learned about Nami's true not her true nature, but we learn about what actually transpired in her past. I guess there's a little bit more confusion at this point because we're kind of like, well, Nami's just worked, and it really paints Nami in a bad light, like she's really the villain, and it really makes Luffy kind of like, I guess there's like a moment where I don't want to say he's second guessing Nami, but he's not doubtful, but he's just like, he needs to go step outside and just take a breather and think about things, right? And then that's kind of when we see everything that's going on with Arlong. We see everything that's going on with the Marines and how he's basically, we learn from the other side, Nami's side, how she almost has the money. He has to keep his deal. Then we learn about what the deal actually is, how if she saves up, 100 million berries, she can buy back the town and the town's going to be safe. They did this really well, just like in the manga and in the anime. It was heartfelt. And when Arlong didn't keep his word and he kind of like switched on her and he sent the Marines to go and get the money, like, and they kind of showed up while she was talking to Nojiko about it. Yeah, that was a sad moment. That was a sad moment in the series, in the show, in the manga, in the anime. I feel like it was probably one of the most well portrayed parts. If I thought that they pulled anything from the manga and the anime that really like matched well, was this part. The other part that they matched well was the Mihawk and Zoro fight, to be honest. They did a really good job with that too. But hey, I digress. But yeah, so now we get to see they just take all of her money and they take all of her possessions, and it's just so sad. It's just so sad to see Arlong's there and he's just laughing it up. He never had any intention. We got to see the room for Nami, the room that they kept her in looked more of like a prison cell, and we saw the scene where she's like bleeding, drawing the maps. Now the maps she was making in the live action looked really good, like really good, like girl's a genius good, you know. So yeah, Arlong's just kind of high on power at this point. He's just been kind of running things. Luffy's here and he's just learning about what's going on, and at the same time, the crew's kind of doubting whether or not they should be there to save her, to help her. And that's really all he's doing. Like, even her, when she told him to go away, you know, very reminiscent of the manga, of the anime, they didn't budge. And so they take all of her stuff. She's there, she's pissed off, she's crying, mad, furious. She's walking down the street, and this is the scene, like, in the anime, if this scene didn't catch you, in the manga, if this scene didn't catch you, like, I don't know who you are, but if you just like watching TV, if a moment like this doesn't hit you, I don't know if there's something missing as a person, because at this point it's like she's taken the whole burden upon herself ever since she's been a child, and she's been taking on this burden of not just isolating herself, putting herself in dangerous situations, but losing all the people that she loves. All for it to culminate and all of her hard work and effort to be ripped away from her. It's tough. Damn, it's tough. Like, I feel it just talking about it. And this is why Oda's so good, man. Anyways, it's really heartfelt. And then when she can't take it anymore and she's just like, Arlong, 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 and she's just going crazy, stabbing herself. And Luffy just, ugh. And she's like, yeah, I thought I told you to leave. He's like, you did. Luffy, help me. And then Luffy takes off his hat, puts it on her head, walks away a little bit. Of course I will. Of course I will! Like, yeah. I'm not gonna lie, when I saw that part, I was like, this is the Luffy I need to see! This is my dog! And up until this point, I had mixed feelings about Luffy. I was like, he gets the goofy part done really well. The fighting scenes are okay. It seems like he's kind of weaker than he's portrayed in the manga and the anime. He's kind of overshadowed by Zoro. But at this point, this moment, like the whole Arlong moment, when we first arrived on the island and when he's meeting everybody and he's overhearing everything, the faith that he has in Nami, his undying belief in Nami, the will, like, this was all well done for Luffy's character. For Luffy's character, this was beautiful. This scene was the most heartfelt scene, I would say, even more so than Bellemere getting shot, even more so than Zeph and Sanji starving on that island. Like, this took the cake. Like, if there was a part that would make me tear up, this would be the part. And it was pretty good. It was actually pretty good. And so from then, we got the crew, and they're just there listening too. That part was cold. That part was cold. They're just there listening. But yeah, so now we finish up by basically fighting Arlong. Now the fight scene with Arlong was good. This was Zoro and Sanji's best scenes. The fight scenes where they're, and obviously we can see like their rivalry, but they're like, you can really see the friendship a little bit more, I would say, start to build through the live action. Then we get a lot, obviously in the manga and the anime, we still get that camaraderie. We feel like they're friends, but like here, you can really see that, like that rivalry and that friendship, just like as they're fighting some of these fishmen. Now I missed Hachi. I missed this scene of Zoro freaking getting there before everybody else, destroying and demolishing everything, seeing Arlong, and like, I missed that scene, but again, the way that they did it, the different direction that they went with it, it didn't actually pull away from the story. It didn't pull away from the characters and the character development. It didn't pull away from being able to really connect with the characters, besides Usopp. But yeah, so I thought that their fight scene was really cool. And now this is the other point where Usopp got his moment to shine. You know, he ran away from Chu, and I mean, he just had his one-on-one fight. There was no Usopp rubber bands, Wagom. There was no Usopp hammer. There was none of that. It was just more of one exploding star. Boom, killed him, iced him out. He's a fishman, flames. Pretty much done from there. He didn't really get beaten or broken. So that's kind of like, this was the best part for him just because he did his job. It was the first part of the show where we're like, oh, Usopp can do something. He can contribute. So that was whatever that was. The fight with Arlong was a really good fight. I would have loved to see some teeth stuff, but like I guess that's hard to do in the live action. The way he broke the sword was probably like identical to the anime. Really, that was really well done. Again, the props were well done. His sword was well done. His like body and his stature, his voice, like everything was well done for Arlong. I just wish that we got the fucking breaking of the nose scene. Like I would have loved that. You know, everything else was really cool though. They were fighting Gomu Gomu. It wasn't like super amazing, but it was enough. And I thought that they could have done the scene in her room a little bit better, and him actually like saying like, I know exactly what I need to do. I know he said it, but like, I don't know, it just didn't ring as true as it did in the anime. But after he did his Gomu Gomu no axe, and he goes up and he destroys it, and he actually knocks Arlong's ass a couple of floors through, dang, just straight down, boom, and the whole thing collapses. And then of course we see the scene. All of them are just like, oh, Luffy, is he going to be okay? Like, they're worried. But he comes through the rubble, and he says, hey, Nami, you are part of our crew. Like, you are one of us. And it was just a heartfelt scene. And so that was really the most, all of the show. Like, this is like the most of the series, I would say. This is episodes 1 to 8. If I miss anything that you guys feel like was super important, put it in the comments. Let me know. If you guys feel differently about the characters too, by the way, let me know. The only other part was like the ending scene with Garp and Luffy and them fighting, but I touched on that a little bit earlier than I would have liked to. I thought that scene was really well done too. I thought that, again, just to kind of touch on it briefly here before we go, I thought that scene was really, really perfect, just because, again, Garp is like the fatherly figure. He's been chasing Luffy this entire time with the guys like stopping him from doing what he wants. He had that one conversation in the Barity where Zeph is literally saying, like, he reminds me of Gold Roger. Like, you gotta this is the time for the young generation to take over. This is not our time anymore. And he's kind of like, it looks like he wants to be against that. But obviously when he's fighting Luffy, like, he actually kicks Luffy's ass. The hockey moments are pretty good. Actually, are pretty solid. I actually like how they did that. knocked his ass backwards. Like, if he really wanted to stop Luffy, he could have here. But it was more of that parental love, that communication, where he's like more testing him to see if he's gonna break, if his will is as strong as it needs to be to go and face what's ahead on the Grand Line and on the seas, and on the journey that he's so strongly feels like he wants to take to become Pirate King. And so Garp, I feel like, is just being a really, really strong gatekeeper, a really strong parental figure, and just showing how much he cares for his family, right? And this is one of his ideals. And so he lets him go. And then they go off and they do their thing. They kind of just end up on the boat, on the Going Merry. They got their boat, and then this is the end where I kind of touched off in the beginning. They get all together, they get the barrel, and they say their dreams and their goals. And then we're off, So that's it. That's the One Piece review of the live action. Damn, that was longer than I wanted it to be. But hey, when we just start talking One Piece, we can go all day. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. I really, really, really appreciate you guys doing that. Let me end off by telling you my final rating for the show. So I'm going to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I'm giving it an 8. My original rating was a 7.5. But after I got through the 3, 4, and after I got through the Usopp parts, I was very happy with the remaining episodes. I mean, again, as I mentioned, I feel like a few times, if I didn't have any previous knowledge of One Piece and I saw this review, I would go and watch the anime afterwards. And I guess that's all that really matters. Now, lo and behold, we got confirmation of even more seasons to come. I think that those seasons are going to be good. They better do my guy Chopper right. Let me know what you guys have in terms of expectations, if any, when it comes to that. But yes, once more, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you. If you made it this long, you better be subscribed. You're one of me. You're one of us. You're my people. I appreciate you. Hold it down. I'm out. Peace.